It's game preview time. We're going to be talking about 49ers versus Patriots, the game plan for the 49ers, how they plan to attack the Patriots, and how the Patriots plan to attack the 49ers. Plus, we're going to get into all the key matchups. We're going to talk about, wow, that's bold predictions. And then we're going to pick the winner of this football game. All that and more in this game preview episode of 49ers Cutback.
From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Really excited to talk about a game preview, 49ers and Patriots. And the 49ers need a big win. They need to be able to knock off the visiting New England Patriots. Both teams come into this game 1-2, and we know what happens when you go 1-3. It just makes your chances of making the playoffs a whole lot tougher. Your start a lot of times will dictate where exactly your seeding is. Now, of course, things change throughout the season. There are so many different variables when you're talking about the NFL, whether that's injuries or teams just going through rough patches during the season, that things can change in a hurry. But for these two teams, they know that a win is very important to their chances of potentially having a shot at the playoffs. And for the 49ers, they're looking to get back not just to the playoffs, but all the way back to the Super Bowl. And yes, AFC teams that you're playing, normally these games aren't as significant as a divisional game like last week against the Rams, or even a NFC opponent that you might face because of playoff seeding implications. But make no mistake, this is a big-time game for the 49ers. I don't want to call it a must-win game, but it's definitely one they feel like they have to win, they need to win, and they've got a Patriots team that's got some talent at several positions and a really good run defense. So anytime that you have those type of characteristics, you always wonder, what can we do? And when you're evaluating a team that you're going to play, the first question you have is, what do they do well, and how does that affect us? Does that match up with one of our weaknesses? If that's the case, sometimes those games are a lot tougher than potentially they should be. And I think this is one of those games where you get a really good Patriots run offense against a 49ers rush defense that hasn't been great this season. It hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great this season. So when you find that matchup, you wonder, can the 49ers do enough to stop the Patriots' run game? Then you look at the Patriots, and their run defense is so good, and the 49ers' run offense is so good, strength on strength, but you find an advantage for the 49ers when it comes to their passing attack against the Patriots' pass defense. So this is one of those interesting ones where we have some matchups of strength on weakness for both sides. We're going to talk about all that in this episode. I'm really excited about it. And just like always, go ahead and leave what you think, your key matchups are. Leave what you think your wow, that's bold predictions are, your game prediction, who's going to win this game. I want to hear it all. If you're a Patriots fan, leave it down there. If you're a 49er fan, leave it down there as well. Really appreciate it. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. If you're listening on audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe. It's available on all audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And of course, if you're going to bet with Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online is every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. You think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for a chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. And I'm always excited to get into the game preview show because kind of allows me to get into X's and O's and go through film and watch. And that's something that I really enjoyed when I was a coach. So these are one of my favorite episodes to get into. Like always, we're going to go through the injuries real quick, and then we're going to go through the coaching staffs. That's going to give us an idea of how each team operates offensively and defensively, and really will set the table for this matchup, 49ers versus Patriots. So we know out Javon Hargrave, he's potentially out for the season. They said likely out for the season. They're leaving a glimmer of hope, but I think the likelihood is he's going to be out with a torn tricep. And then Curtis Robinson gets injured in a non-contact part of drills at practice, goes down, ACL tear. He's out for the year. Unfortunate, a very consistent special teams player, and somebody that a lot of us were looking at as potentially being able to step into the starting lineup at the Sam linebacker spot in the interim in case Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles doesn't kind of pick up his game a little bit. We'll be talking about DFF in this 49ers linebacker room coming up in this episode. Then guys who are questionable for the game, Jordan Elliott, that's a new injury, and he's stepping into the Javon Hargrave role. So that's something to monitor, but he did come back to practice. So that's good news. Back on Friday means we've got a really good chance of Jordan Elliott being out there. Talanoa Hufanga popped up on the injury list. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He suffered at practice. Hopefully Hufanga will be able to go. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel listed as questionable, but he practiced 2 days this week. That means he's a week ahead of schedule, and there's a good chance that Deebo Samuel is going to play in this football game, and what a lift that would be. He's had a tremendous offseason, and he was playing really well this season before he suffered the calf injury. Trent Williams also popped up on the injury list. He had an illness on Wednesday, and then now a toe, so we don't know exactly what's going on with the toe, but he's listed as questionable. Hopefully, Trent Williams will be able to be out there and compete. And D. Winters hurt his ankle again, so he's been dealing with ankle injuries pretty much the entire start of the season, and he's got another ankle injury. We'll see. It does appear that he will play in this game. Now, the Patriots are dealing with all kinds of injuries as well. Cornerback Alec Austin, he's out with an ankle. Guard Mike Jordan, and this is a backup guard. He's out with an ankle. Offensive tackle Vadarian Lowe, he's out with a knee. Now, questionable, they got outside linebacker Anthony Jennings expected to play. He's got a shoulder injury. Defensive back Jonathan Jones expected to play with a shoulder injury. Guard City So, this one's a little bit more up in the air, but with Mike Jordan not playing, they need City So to play in this game. An offensive tackle Caden Wallace, who's dealing with a knee, and that's another backup offensive lineman. They have been ravaged by injuries along the offensive line the same way that the Rams were the week before. Doesn't always mean it works out for you, right? But just some of the things that the Patriots are dealing with when it comes to injuries in the secondary, injuries along the offensive line are the key injuries for the Patriots. So let's look at their coaching staff. They've got the head coach, Gerard Mayo, and of course, he played linebacker in the NFL for a long time, and then he became a coach under Bill Belichick. He coached linebackers, of course, and now he's worked his way into the head coaching role for the New England Patriots, and he brought in offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt. So Alex Van Pelt, if the name sounds familiar, it probably is. He was a quarterback in the league for a long time backup, and he has been the offensive coordinator with the Cleveland Browns over the last 4 years, 2020 to 2023. Now with Van Pelt, he was coaching with Coach Kevin Stefanski, which means Stefanski was calling the offense. He was not the play caller, but he was the offensive coordinator and the assistant that helped him pretty much with everything. And I think you see that when you look at the New England Patriots offense. It's very akin to what you were getting from the Cleveland Browns offense with Kevin Stefanski. And so that is what Van Pelt does. But a lot of experience as a signal caller, a lot of experience as a coach in the NFL, and spending the last 4 years working directly with Kevin Stefanski. He's got a distinct way that he wants to go about it, and he does a pretty good job. Now for the defense, the defensive coordinator is DeMarcus Covington. He used to play at Samford College, actually as a receiver, but now he's been on the defensive side of the ball for a while with the Patriots. He's been 8 years with the Patriots overall. Some of that, he was the defensive line coach. That was for 4 seasons between 2020 and 2023, and this is his first year as defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. So he's seen it. He understands what they were doing in defense with Bill Belichick there. Now, the thought process has been it was a little too complicated under Bill Belichick, and they're trying to kind of take that part of it out and make it less complicated and make it simplified so that his players can play free and play fast. And so that's what we're getting. So you're getting On offense, you got a particular set that you're getting from Van Pelt, which is going to look a lot like what you're getting from Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. Their film looks pretty close. There's, of course, the wrinkles and things that are different where he adds in his own elements. That always happens. And then when you look at Covington's defense, same sort of thing. You're going to get a idea of it looks very Belichick, but it's a little bit different too, less complicated and a little bit more kind of stripped down from what you were getting from Bill Belichick. That kind of established what you're getting there. Of course, for the 49ers, we know it's Kyle Shanahan calling the plays. Nick Sorensen, been getting a lot of criticism over the last couple weeks with how his defense has performed. Good showing against the Jets. And then in week 2 and week 3, people have not been very excited about what he's put out there. And so he's going to be a little bit under the microscope in this game. And of course, you've got to answer the bell if you're the 49ers defense. And that's what they're expected to do. But let's get into this offensive game plan for the San Francisco 49ers going against this Patriots defense, which has a lot of electric talent. They've got guys that can bring pressure off the outside. A guy like Keon White, very talented. We talked about Anthony Jennings a little bit. So they've got guys, and then another guy I like on their team. I was watching film of them against the Jets. Is Wise Jr. I think Wise Jr. is a very talented player. So they got some guys up front that are going to cause some problems for the 49ers. And then when you look at the secondary, they got Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers. Those are guys that are really good tacklers coming from the safety position. So they'll be fun to watch, especially with some of the matchups that they're going to have this week against 49ers tight ends. And, of course, fullback Kyle Juszczyk always makes it fun. But I think that normally this is the time that I would tell you the 49ers need to rely extensively on their run game and get a run game going. With the Patriots, it's a little bit different. The Patriots' run defense is very good. The Patriots' run defense gives up 83 yards per game. Now, last week, the Jets did have a lot of success against the Patriots defense. They ran the ball for 133 yards, and Braylon Allen and company really got it going and were able to get over 100 yards just between those two running backs. Aaron Rodgers chipped in with some too, but 133 against the Patriots defense that's been very stingy so far this season, I think is maybe encouraging for the 49ers being able to get a run game going with Jordan Mason. So you do have to stick with the run game a little bit, but we'll talk about what that means for the 49ers in just a second. But when you're looking at the passing game for the 49ers numbers with Brock Purdy in the passing game are going up. Last week, Brock exploded. Him and Jawan Jennings had a great game, 3 touchdowns, and that was without key weapons. They didn't have Kittle. They didn't have Debo, but Jawan Jennings and others were able to make plays for this 49ers offense. And this is one area where the 49ers can go about taking advantage of the New England Patriots. And I know you look at their roster, and we talked about their safeties a little bit with Peppers and Duggar. And they got Christian Gonzalez, and he's probably going to be following Brandon Ayuk. He's probably going to be paying Ayuk the most attention. But we talked about Marcus Jones. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He's not 100%. And then when you look at the other corner, it's Jonathan Jones. And I think the 49ers have an advantage when it comes to wide receiver play against the Patriots' edge guys at corners like Jonathan Jones. They're not going to have Alex Austin, which means Marco Wilson will be a guy that could see a little bit of playing time in this game, and 49ers familiar with his game. So throwing the football is going to be important for the 49ers. But they have to run the ball consistently to keep the defense honest and be able to establish the play-action game. So last week, one of the big conversation points that I had, and a lot of it was on the coach approach with John Chapman that we do on Thursdays, is I said, hey, they need to run more play action. He brought it up. He said, how many do you think? They had ran 3 against Minnesota. And I said, triple that, make it 9. They ran 9 play action pass plays last week and went 9 for 9 on those. You just watched the way that the Jets were able to attack the Patriots defense last week. They were able to get Aaron Rodgers out of the pocket by using play action and then get him some easy throws to tight ends and receivers that are running those flood concepts to the sideline. So I think that's something the 49ers need to run in this football game. Of course, they've got to establish some sort of running game with Jordan Mason. You're not going to just go just pass and just extensively pass. You've got to be well balanced, and we know that's what Kyle Shanahan likes to do. He's pretty close to 50-50 when it comes to season pass to run ratio normally. So he wants to be balanced in these games. He wants to take advantage of opportunities he gets. So he's going to have to keep running the football with Jordan Mason, even if it's not always entirely successful. If it is successful, we'll then just start burying him in the run game with Jordan Mason and shorten this game up. But I think there's going to be opportunities for Brock Purdy in the passing game, and some of that happens with play action pass. The New England Patriots love to stop the run. They sell out to stop the run, so you can get some opportunities where those linebackers are engaged. You can get opportunities where Jabril Peppers or Duggar come into the box, and then you're able to find areas down the field in the zone you can take advantage of. And sometimes you catch them in key blitz situations. You can get them when they're in man coverage, and you like to think that guys like George Kittle can win in man coverage, that we already know a guy like Jawan Jennings can win in man coverage. Kyle Shanahan singing his praises this week about being the best separator on the football team, and I entirely agree. I don't know why. It's not a speed thing. It's not like he's the most tremendous route runner. He just has an innate ability to be able to create separation. His body language is hard for a cornerback to read, and he's able to get separation coming out of his break. He does a really good job with it. So I think he'll still have success in this game. And the 49ers love running a lot of 21 and 12 personnel. So 21 personnel is the two running backs, one tight end. That's Kyle Juszczyk. That's Jordan Mason. That's George Kittle. Last week it was Eric Saubert. And they like running 12, where they get one running back and two tight ends on the field. Those are heavy sets. That puts the defense in their base looks, which if you're a 4-3 team, you're going to be in a base 4-3. If you're in a 3-4 team, you're going to be in your base 3-4. And the 49ers like that for matchups, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well. Well, this might be a week where I know a lot of people, I've been hearing people say, hey, just stick in 21, just stick in 12 the whole game. I think there's an opportunity just from watching film for the 49ers to go to 11 personnel in this game. That could be why it's pivotal if Debo ends up playing. You get Ayuk, Debo, and Jawan out there in your 11 personnel. All three can block well. Then you have Kittle as the tight end. There are some opportunities to run the football. And I know we don't like bringing Kyle Juszczyk off the field very often. He's one of our best players when it comes to pass protection, catching the ball in the backfield, and a great blocker. But I think with some of the weaknesses when it comes to the Patriots defense tackling and some of their edge guys, as far as corners, being able to make plays, I think this is an opportunity for the 49ers to find some times in 11 personnel to run the football. Get some lighter boxes, some lighter looks, and use their athleticism to be able to create some opportunities. All the Jets do it last week. I think the 49ers can do it as well, because I believe the 49ers pass catchers are a lot better blockers than the Jets. So that could be an advantage. I'm not saying run it a ton of time, but sprinkle it in 11 personnel and run the football sometimes could create some extra opportunities for the 49ers. Now, one thing I want to see them add a little bit more this week, they added it last week to a point, is RPO or run pass option. So you can get Brock Purdy in the shotgun and get that running back going in front of him, and his read is a linebacker. If that linebacker moves horizontally or comes down vertically, it leaves a window open for you to be able to get the football to one of your wide receivers. And everyone blocks like it's a run play, except for Brock Purdy, of course, who's running the fake, and, of course, the wide receiver. And the running back, he has to run through the play like it's a run play. He believes it's a run play. The only thing that Brock Purdy doesn't do is give him the football. And so those plays are tough to stop. We saw the Philadelphia Eagles have tremendous success with this in the past. And I don't think it needs to be a huge staple of the 49ers offense, but I like it for here and there looks to freeze linebackers and not allow them to completely engage all the time when it comes to the run game. That will slow up backside pursuit on outside zone plays. So an outside zone is running away from where you would normally read for an RPO. So you get everyone moving one way, like going that way to the left. And I don't even know if that's on the camera going to the left, but you get everyone going one way to the left. And then you go ahead and that linebacker has to freeze to stop the RPO coming back. And then Jordan Mason's able to get his foot in the ground, get vertical, and cut back. And there's nobody there that should have been there. So it's a twofold. If the guy moves, you take advantage of him in the passing game. If the guy doesn't move to stay home to take away the RPO, it creates an extra opportunity where you have another guy you don't have to block, and you can run the football there. So it's an evolution of offense and it's about freezing players for 1 second. If I can freeze you for a 1 second, half a second, that could be the difference between you getting to your spot and our guy being able to get down the field and past you to the next level. So it's something I've seen Brock Purdy be able to execute well, and it's something I think could help this 49ers run game moving forward. And so RPO would be nice for the 49ers to add, getting linebackers to move horizontally in the passing game, but also getting them to stand pat if they have to read you. That way you can run the football a little bit more efficiently and have one less guy that can make a tackle. Running quick screens. So I talked about the tackling of the corners. I think running quick screens out on the edge to your wide receivers and playmakers give you some opportunities. If Debo is playing in this game, then yeah, get him the football in space, get him a one-on-one look, and let him create. And I think that's something the 49ers could add to this offense. So you're hearing kind of what I'm putting down here is run the football, run play action off of that run game, run RPO to get that guy moving or to freeze him, depending on look, makes him choose. You take advantage of it whichever way you need to go, and then be able to get some quick screens out to your wide receivers and allow them to create. If Debo's playing, let's get the ball to Debo. If it's an opportunity where you need someone else, maybe we get our first look at Cowling. Can't say that for sure, but I even like Jawan in those situations using his big body. Allen Lazard was able to get a lot of separation last week on screens. Just quick throw, let him create in one-on-one situations. I think the 49ers could do that as well. And then George Kittle. I like George Kittle in this game, and I know that the safeties are very good for the Patriots. You're talking about Kyle Duggar and others. I just went blank on his name for a second. Jabril Peppers. I'm like, how did I go blank on Jabril Peppers? But those aren't exactly opportunities you normally say, oh, those are good tight ends, good safeties to go against your tight end. But if those guys are focusing on George Kittle, it's going to open up other doors. But I think Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to move Kittle and get him in some unique looks where we get him one-on-one with tight end or with linebackers. Tight end on linebacker, always advantage 49ers. Last week, the Jets were able to get Conklin on some one-on-one looks, and he was able to take advantage of them. And I like Conklin, but George Kittle is a far superior route runner, far superior receiver. He's just one of the best in the league, if not the best in the entire league. So I like George Kittle in this game to make some plays against those linebackers and safeties. And I do believe it doesn't matter which one of those safeties it is, George Kittle has an advantage. But if the Patriots want to run a lot of zone coverage, the 49ers, George Kittle will find a place, sit down, and get it going. So let's talk about the defense a little bit and what the 49ers need to do. First off, they need to stop the run game of the New England Patriots. Last week, it was not effective against the Jets. The Patriots' offense definitely slowed down. In fact, Antonio Gibson was the leading rusher, and it's normally Ramondre Stevenson, but he only carried the ball 6 times. They really were kind of knocked out of their run game, 15 carries total in the game. Not exactly the most successful, for the New England Patriots. And I think the 49ers need to load the box this week. They need to bring an 8th defender in there. They need to make a emphasis on stopping this run game and don't allow the duo blocks, the double teams at the point of attack to win and get you moving back vertically so that way they can run the ball and create separation in the run game and get on your linebackers. We need guys to be able to hold their ground. We'll bring in an 8th guy up there. We'll make them account for an extra player. And so that means a lot of single high safety looks, cover 3, cover 1, depending on what you're doing and how you're playing this. But you have to make sure that you stop the run and don't allow them to gash you in the run game. And the Patriots, that's what their focus is going to be. They average 144 yards per game on the ground. And so they're going to look to run the football. You're going to see some 2 tight end sets. They've got 2 good ones. They've got Hunter Henry. They got Austin Hooper. They're going to be able to get those guys in there. And this is where it gets interesting because you have to stop the run. And it's one of your main objectives in running an 8-man box is one of the ways you do it. But that also means you leave yourself with some tough matchups when it comes to your safety that's in the box against one of those 2 tight ends. Hunter Henry, is a very good tight end, very balanced. He can do it all. Austin Hooper, a good pass catcher. So Jair Brown, Talno Fonga, if he's playing, we'll see the ankle. Hopefully he's out there playing. They've got to be able to play the run, but also play the pass. and the Patriots will run a lot of play action. So stopping that run early is going to be important for the 49ers. If they can stop the run early and their offense can have success, they can get the Patriots out of those heavy looks and really start bearing down on them with pressure when it comes to defensive line pressure. But stopping the run's key. If Ramondre Stevenson is able to get going, this is going to be a long day for the 49ers defense because that's when the entire offense opens up. It's Kevin Stefanski style offense. Run the football, establish a run game, get the play action going off that, and just sit on that over and over. And so I think that's going to be one of the keys in this game is getting Ramondre Stevenson off the field and making them want to go to Antonio Gibson to throw the football a little bit. But when you look at the rush numbers, I talked about the Patriots having 144 yards per game and 144. Right now, the 49ers are having giving up 104 yards per game. So it went down a little bit after the Minnesota game. It went up to 107 yards per game. Now it's down to 104. But we're talking about a defense that shut down the Jets and held them to 68 yards in week 1. Everyone else since then, Minnesota, Los Angeles has had more success on the ground than normal. So 49ers got to definitely work on that. It's a key. And the Patriots, they're going to run right at you. And it's a smart move by them. If they can grind this game out, if they can make this game very physical in the trenches, and they can kind of grind you out, limit the amount of possessions that the offense for the 49ers has, they can keep themselves in this football game. So that's exactly what they're going to do. Also, once they get the run game going, the play action boot game. So getting Jacoby Brissett outside the pocket and being able to find Henry and being able to find some of those wide receivers like Demario Douglas and Jalen Polk, the young guy, out in space could be what they look to do after that. That's kind of the offensive style that the Patriots run. Now, the 49ers know one thing for sure. It doesn't matter if the team that you're playing normally runs trips bunch or not. They're going to be running bunch in this game. 49ers have not shown that they are able to handle trips bunch in any situation yet this season. It just hasn't worked out. Coach Sorensen hasn't been able to get those guys lined up correctly. They're not playing it off. They're not checking the zone. They keep playing their man coverage, and it hasn't worked out. And anytime someone motions in to create it, it's been even more problems. So that's something that needs to be ironed out and fixed. You're going to see it. How you handle it will dictate how much they run it during the game. If you're able to take it away the first 2 times they run it, they probably will abandon it. So the 49ers need to make a concerted effort to stop bunch plays from having success. They're creating natural rubs, natural separation. They're getting key first downs and sometimes some touchdowns. So you got to make sure you're ready for that. And also from mesh concepts over the middle, coming out of those bunch sets or coming out of 2x2 sets where you're tight to the line of scrimmage and running routes across the middle of that cross. We've seen crossing routes be a problem for the 49ers this season. Isaac Gedem trailing, Charvarius Ward trailing. So when they're in man coverage, they're really struggling with that. I'd love to see the 49ers show some man looks in coverage and then run zone off of that and make Jacoby Brissett hold on to the football for an extra second. They haven't been able to really do that a lot. This would be a good week to do it for the 49ers because right now, bunch sets and mesh concepts are a problem for the 49ers. Now, expect to see screens to the wide receivers, get the ball out to Demario Douglas and KJ Osborne, and those guys will let them create space and try to make things easy, right? You take the pressure off Jacoby Brissett with a quick extended throw and put the onus on the 49ers corners and safeties to make tackles in space. I expect that to be a part of the game, but also the running backs. You got Antonio Gibson. When he's in the football game, you have to be leery of the screen game. He gets the ball in open space, he can do some damage. So making sure you're aware as a defensive lineman, hey, I'm getting in a little bit too easy. Make sure I get out there and track this play down. Linebackers, of course, got to do the same things. Be really good at getting a feel for what the offense is trying to do. But those are going to be parts of this football game. And we know the 49ers don't do great against screens, especially running back screens, because this defense is predicated on getting penetration, getting up the field, causing problems. And when you do that, it opens the door for screen game. And the 49ers definitely have had problems with that. And I think that the New England Patriots are going to try to attack Jair Brown. So far, Jair Brown has proven to be inconsistent in zone coverage. I think he has plenty of really good plays. I think there's a couple of games, though, that he is struggling with. And I think they're going to try to test him. I think they're going to try to put him in a vertical stretch down the field sometimes and make him choose. Do I go with this dig over the middle, or am I supposed to take over the top? And he's got to make sure his eyes are focused on his reads and he knows his assignments, so that way he doesn't allow big plays down the field. That is something that they're going to test him on. They're going to try him on, and he has to make sure he meets that challenge, because the 49ers can't afford to have big explosive plays down the field that hurt them. And Jair Brown this year has given up some, so they're going to have to continue to work on getting better at it. But winning on third down is a must. 49ers have not been good on third down as far as defensively. They give up third down conversions at 52%. What if I was to tell you that number's actually going down? You wouldn't believe it because of how many times the Rams got first downs on third down. But it actually has dropped 8 points since week 1, and that's really good news. Against the Jets, 60% conversion rate on third down. Week 2, 59% conversion rate, right? And the Minnesota Vikings were very successful in that game. But now it's down to 52%. That's still not good. To get where the 49ers defense was last year, they were right around 41% that conversion rates allowed. A really good defense gets it down to 35%. The 49ers are 17% over what a really good defense does as far as conversion rate on third down. They need to get a lot better. And in comes a Patriots offense that converts at 33.3%. 49ers need to get off the field on third down. Last week, the Rams came in at 30% conversion rate on third down and had a lot of success against the 49ers on third. They have to get off the field on third down. It's imperative for them to be able to get the ball back to their offense, allow themselves to rest on defense, and continue to have good field position. So that's going to be a key in this game. When you look at the other side, 49ers converting on third down at 41.2%, which is consistently dropped each week since week 1. Week 1 over 46%. And since then, they haven't been as efficient on third down for the rest of the season. They need to make sure they get better at it. Last year, they converted at a 46% rate for the entire season. It was really good. This year, they've been more inconsistent on third down. Patriots are going to give the 49ers opportunities. They allow conversions on third down at 51%. So their defense is not much better than the 49ers defense when it comes to getting off the field on third down. Establishing that you can get first on third is important. It extends drives, allows you to use the clock, handle the momentum of the game. It's going to be very important. So whoever plays better on third down is going to have a really good chance to win this game. Red zone offense for the 49ers are at 50% TD rate, the same exact as last week, so nothing changes. 50% of the time they're in the red zone, they get a touchdown. They need this number to keep going up. Last year, they were number 1 in the league, over 60% touchdown rate when they got into the red zone. A lot of that completely coincides when the Christian McCaffrey got to the 49ers in 2022. So it could be the McCaffrey effect, but the 49ers still have plenty of weapons that they can use in the red zone. Patriots, they get touchdowns at 33% when they're in the red zone. It's not something they've been good at. They're not highly effective when it comes to scoring in the red zone, and that's why they only average 13 points per game. Just not effective football play when they're in the red zone scoring touchdowns. If the 49ers can keep them out of the end zone, that would be important. 49ers red zone defense, though, is not very good. They're giving up touchdowns at 60% of the time. That's not a winning formula for the 49ers. They need to get a tremendous amount better. And so we'll see how they do. Patriots offense not great in the red zone as far as scoring touchdowns. Maybe the 49ers can get some big stops if the Patriots are able to get into the red zone. And for the Patriots defense, they give up touchdowns at 55%. So the 49ers have an opportunity here if you get in the red zone to score some touchdowns. And ultimately, that's what you need to do. You need to get in the end zone. Not Jake Moody field goals, but touchdowns. Touchdowns are the key to having a lot of success in the NFL. So you see, both teams, red zone effectiveness on defense, they haven't been great. 49ers offense better than the Patriots when it comes to red zone efficiency. Well, let's look at the turnovers. When you talk about giveaways, the 49ers have 3 turnovers this year. We've got 2 fumbles from Brock Purdy, one of them the strip sack. Of course, last week from Colt McKivitz giving up the strip sack to Byron Young. That's not on Brock Purdy. The other 2, the open hand fumble in Minnesota, the interception in Minnesota, those are on Brock Purdy. So they have 3 giveaways this season. Nobody else has put the ball on the ground. For the Patriots, they have one interception by Jacoby Brissett. Overall, they've taken care of the football really well. through 3 games. When you look at takeaways, 49ers have caused 4 turnovers. Of course, those 4 turnovers all happened in the first 2 weeks. Last week, they did not get a turnover from the Los Angeles Rams. With the Patriots, they've caused 2 turnovers, so half as many as the 49ers. And the 49ers definitely want this number to go up. When you look at turnover differential, both teams at +1. So even though the 49ers have generated double the amount of turnovers, they've turned the ball over more than the Patriots. So +1 for both teams, which is very effective and efficient. And that's ultimately what you want it to be. So 49ers and Patriots do a good job taking care of the football. That's what you have to do. Win the turnover battle. You're going to have a really good chance to win this game. Now it's time for my Wow That's Bold predictions, brought to you by 49ersshop.com, where you can get all your 49ers cutback gear and all your 49ers inspired gear. Go check it out. Link is in the description.
Wow, that's really bold. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
It's got to be really bold. It's got to be whoa. And so let's talk about my 49ers cutback shot. Wow, that's bold predictions. Just to give everyone a kind of a picture of how it's going. Last week, I had Jawan Jennings getting a touchdown. Check, that happened. He actually got 3, so he did better than even I could have anticipated. I went with Kyle Juszczyk having a touchdown. That did not happen, so that's unfortunate. Last week, I also had Fred Warner getting a turnover. That didn't happen, unfortunate. But I did hit on Javon Hargrave getting a sack. So I was 2 of 4 last week on my Wow That's Bold predictions, and unfortunately now Hargrave out for the year, so that's sad. But let's talk about this week. On offense, you're getting the return of George Kittle, and I think you're getting George Kittle into the end zone for a touchdown. I talked about it earlier. I like George Kittle in the matchup against the linebackers especially, but I'll take him in the safety matchups as well, especially against Jabril Peppers. I think that's a good matchup for the 49ers. But I think the 49ers are going to get the run game going established enough to get some play action looks and get Kittle the football in space. I look for Kittle to have a touchdown. I think it'll actually be a red zone touchdown. And then I know that we've got the short gate. We got shorts being talked about with the dress code and all that. Not even going to talk about that. Brandon Ayuk's getting a touchdown in this game. Brandon Ayuk is going to score a touchdown in this game. And I know Christian Gonzalez is going to be covering him and all this sort of things. Kyle Shanahan is going to find a way to get Brandon Ayuk the ball in space for a touchdown. So Kittle and Ayuk touchdowns in my Wow That's Bold offensive predictions. Now on defense, changing it up a little bit this week, I've got the 49ers defense generating 2 turnovers. I think they're going to find a way. The Patriots haven't turned over the ball very much this season, but I think they're going to find a way to cause some turnovers from the Patriots. And that's going to be very beneficial to the 49ers offense. Maybe a short field or 2 for the 49ers. I think there's going to be opportunities. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on Jacoby Brissett because they're going to try to load up the box to stop the run game, which means he's going to have to win when it comes to the passing game. I think we get 1 there, maybe a fumble as well. So 49ers generating 2 turnovers in this game. And then how about this? I was right about Hargrave. Let's see if I can be right about another defensive lineman getting a sack. I think Leonard Floyd is going to have a sack in this game. I think there's going to be an opportunity for him to win on the edge. I think the 49ers are going to show a look that includes Yetur Gross-Matos on the inside sometimes in that Arden key role. And we're going to get an opportunity where Floyd gets a clean pass rush one-on-one, and he's going to win, and he's going to get Jacoby Brissett. So I'm calling for a Leonard Floyd sack in this one. Hopefully I can be right the way I was with Hargrave last week because the 49ers definitely could use some defensive line pressure. They need this defensive line to play better. We need Bosa to play better. We need Floyd. We need those other guys to step up like Jordan Elliott, Yetur Gross-Matos. And so we'll see what happens in this game. But getting pressure on Jacoby Brissett is going to be a key element to the 49ers' opportunities to win. And I think they're going to figure this thing out when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to the run game for the Patriots, one thing I didn't mention was they're going to have Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles out there when they go their heavy sets. They are going to try to attack Flannigan-Fowles in the run game and attack Devondre Campbell in the passing game and prove that those guys can hold up. We'll see what the 49ers do in base sets if they eventually do something. But another thing to monitor in this game is when the 49ers go to nickel, do they put in D. Winters as the sub linebacker to play in a nickel package and cover in space? that will be a key element to figuring out what the 49ers feel about Devondre Campbell's coverage skills, but also seeing how they're going to use D. Winters moving forward over the next few weeks. So that's going to be something to monitor as well. Linebacker play is going to be interesting. How does Flanagan Fowles help handle stopping the run? And what happens with Campbell and D. Winters in nickel packages? Just something to watch. Now it's time for the score prediction, who I believe is going to win this football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the New England Patriots. I think when you're looking at these two teams, 49ers are desperate for a win. They know they need to even this thing out, get back to 2-2, get back to their winning ways, and I think they have an opportunity to do it in this game. It's going to require them making sure they stop the New England Patriots run game and also being very effective when it comes to Brock Purdy in the passing game, which we've seen Brock do in the past. I think the 49ers have too much in this game. I think they're too talented. I think they're too hungry for this win. They know they need it. And so I do believe they're going to get a win on the Patriots. 49ers 27, Patriots 10. I think the 49ers defense shows up in a big way in this game. Patriots kind of struggle, and the 49ers just really grind this thing out down the stretch and win. And so, 27-10, the biggest victory I've picked for the 49ers this season. But I think it's entirely possible that they get it done. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm curious about who you guys think is going to win this football game. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Episode of 49ers Cutback is brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay safe. Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.